Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
Greetings. You're listening to Guiding Stars Evolutionary Astrology Radio. This is Kristin Fontana, and I'm here with Rose Marcus from Vancouver, Canada. Welcome back, Rose.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, we are gathering here to discuss the transits for the end of September into October. Today, as we are recording, it is the first day of Libra. So happy Equinox and happy fall. My favorite time of year. What about you? What's your favorite time?
Just so shocked that it is already this time of year. I just cannot believe that. It's going so fast.
It's 63 degrees here. I feel like the last time we talked, I was complaining because it was 106 or something.
Yeah.
So it's been a little progressive. We even got a little bit of rain the last few days, which was really nice. And so the skies are blue. You can't see fires, thankfully. I know you guys got hit with some heat this year, too, but I think it's cooling off.
Yeah, it's much better now. So, yeah, it has been intense. So welcome to global warming, and don't expect it to go back to whatever kind of norm we used to have, because it's never going to be that way again.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Well, we are bathing and basking in multiple retrogrades. There's all the 5 outer planets retrograde right now. Mercury is currently retrograde until October 2nd. That's the first one of the 6 to move direct. And so, I think it's worth talking a little bit again about the value of the retrograde instead of the madness that the Mercury retrograde can create. I think for me, and in talking to so many clients and just observing it in the world in this way, I mean, it really is a circling back, a slowing down. Even if life feels chaotic, there's an inner slowing down that allows you to create some space between where you've been and where you want to be. And so it feels expansive inwardly, especially since Jupiter is part of this retrograde series or string of planets. How have you been experiencing it?
Well, I always say lift and separate, right, with the retrograde. So it is that pullback is it's such an important period for you to get back in touch with what is most important and so on, right? So it gives the opportunity for reflection and observation, and hopefully to have more objectivity about what the heck is going on. And I think to a large extent, what a lot of people have felt is this idea of not being able to control situations, right? So when you can't control it, you have to observe it a little bit. And when you observe, when that happens, that pullback, and you get to see it from a different angle, and that's all very informing, right? So
yes.
If I can't control what's happening, I'm going to have to take a step back here. I'm going to have to stop fighting it and take a look at it instead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So even though it feels like, in some cases too, like there's this, I have no idea what the future holds kind of feeling, that can be accompanied with this energy. But it is also, like I said, this kind of an inner expansive view of the past and where you stand and where in the future. I see this very observational kind of energy. When we talk about retrogrades as a Uranian phenomenon, it's all about, it can be a rebellion in a sense, a rebellion of something that you've gotten tired of, for example, or just really wanting to redo the way you work and move and connect in the world. And so, it's kind of, I've had enough of this feeling under the retrograde, and I'm going to kind of rework my life and recreate it, or reinvent myself can be part of this.
Yeah, so, and I think that it is providing an opportunity, and we need to slow down. I think that we get too busy. We're always kind of doing, and we do get distracted by so many different things. And when we pause for reflection, so much more, the answers can come in. The ability to see in a broader viewpoint and so forth. Right. So it is incredibly productive. And so, put this time to use. But we do have a switch happening. And by the way, the autumn equinox happens at 6:03 tonight, and this is the 22nd. We're pre-recording, so we're heading into that new season, and it will air tomorrow. And it's kind of an interesting few days here, because the sun is advancing in the sign of Libra. And Mercury retrograde has been in the sign of Libra. It started on the 9th of September. And on the 23rd of September, Mercury is going to back into, it's still retrograde, and it's going to back into Virgo, where it will finish the retrograde on the 2nd of October. And it will be back to Libra by the 10th. And I've forgotten, but, about the 16th, 17th, it's going to finally surpass the degree that it started retrograde back there last month, right? Earlier in the month, right? In September. So we have a little bit further to go. But I must say that over the past few weeks, that Mercury in Libra is the scales, right? And about the balance and about interpersonal relationships and so on. And I think things have gone from one extreme to another, right?
Oh, yeah.
And additionally, we've had some tension with Venus and Mars as well, too. So I think a lot of people have been experiencing relationship conflict over the past few weeks, right? Expectations that are not being met, those extremes, maybe overreaction, whatever it's been, boy, we're really at odds here. I'm over here and you're way over there, right? There's been a lot going on. And I'm very encouraged, I don't know about you, Kristin, but I'm very encouraged because this Mercury retrograde in Virgo, and this is the second half of the retrograde cycle. So a retrograde cycle is that planet's relationship to the sun, right, from our placement here on Earth. And as of our pre-record, Mercury retrograde and the sun are aligning by conjunction on this autumn equinox day. And from here, the sun's moving into Libra, Mercury's backing into Virgo, and it's in the second half of that retrograde cycle. The fact that Mercury in Virgo is forming a lovely trine to Pluto in Capricorn, I think the next few weeks is good for correcting what needs to be corrected, filling in the missing blanks, making the improvement, doing the healing, whatever it is to get yourself a little further along.
Right, because it's slowing down to, does it slow down to 26?
Yes.
Degrees? Oh. So it slows down and it stops, or is it later?
Yeah, it goes all the way down to 24.
Oh, to 24.
24. And so Mercury maintains a trine to Pluto and exact on the following dates: September 27, October 6, and October 12.
All right. Well, that's only 2 degrees off the exact trine when it comes down to 24, right? So in essence, it is really trining it.
Yeah, it's kind of a holding pattern in that trine, right?
Right, it is.
And a planet that is changing direction is slow in its orbit. So the fact that it's slow, it's amplified in its in whatever it's doing, right? So in this case, I think that's wonderful that it gives us extra time to fix it. to correct.
Exactly.
To figure
exactly.
it out.
I love that. I mean, because Mercury is ruling Venus right now, and Venus rules the sign of Libra, and we've got the Sun in Libra now, and Mercury also rules Mars in Gemini. That's where Mars is traveling right now. So to have Mercury in a supportive position to Pluto, I mean, it could be in a square or an opposition, which wouldn't be fun at all. But the fact that it will be in a trine to Pluto, it's giving your soul information about how to move forward, how to empower yourself more, how to evolve, conversations you need to have, questions you need to ask. And so the extended visit, because Mercury really hauls, it moves fast, it moves really quickly. So to have, that's like a 2-week trine to Pluto is very rare.
Right.
So rare. Like, yeah. I don't even know. I always say this, when has that happened before, right? Sometimes we'll run into things, and I'm thinking to myself, when in the heck has that happened before? I don't even know. That would be worth looking into. But, typically we think of Mercury in a birth chart. Of course, it's important in terms of how you express yourself or what have you. But, we're usually looking at kind of bigger things in the chart. But when Mercury is aligned, with a big planet like Pluto, it brings a lot of power to that planet of Mercury. It brings a lot of influence, right? Rose and I were just talking before the show, and now I'm really feeling what this is about. But sometimes it can be these karmic intersections that we have where knowing what to say and what not to say is going to be really important for you. And the cool thing about Pluto, really, in this context, is Pluto has to do with your deepest, like a psychic sense that you have. Jupiter is your intuitive sense, that kind of gut check, but Pluto is really the psychic sense. It's just that really deepest knowing. It's the ruler of your root, right? So it goes all the way down to the root of who you are. And so to have Mercury and Pluto in that trine, your root, your soul will be communicating to your voice, to your mental, actually to your left brain, I should say, and then you're able to express it through your voice. But I think that's another important thing to remember in this window, that what you're thinking about is coming from somewhere very deep in your soul.
Right, exactly. And as Mercury moves forward, then said it would be the 12th when Mercury and Pluto finish this discourse that they've had. And the position of Mercury to Pluto right now, too, the angle that it's in is what I call a teaching opportunity, right? And that teaching opportunity is experiential reality, and how you are processing the information as you are observing, as you are interfacing, as you are moving through whatever it is you need to do to straighten it out for yourself, right? And so I think that has something that's quite potent goes in there in that sorting it out, so that in that teaching moment, it really solidifies something as well, too, in terms of, okay, well, I've been approaching it from this way, and I now see that I'm better off to do it this way, and that's really going to be succinct for me. It's really something that I'm going to find is a useful tool for me in moving forward the next time that I'm trying to approach something similar.
So you're saying with the Pluto-Mercury as a teaching moment?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right,
okay.
Exactly. It's demonstrating, and maybe affirming or confirming. I've been planning on going in this direction, and now that I see how things are playing out, I'm seeing that maybe I should modify or change the way I was going to approach that. That's what I mean about this teaching tool, and it is self-correcting, right? Yeah,
self-correcting is a perfect way to say that with the retrograde, because I'm thinking of like a handful of people even I've spoken to in the last few weeks that, what I'm noticing, sometimes when we get really fixed on something, and with Pluto being the ruler of Scorpio, a fixed sign, we can get so fixated or fixed on something. I really want to work for this company, or I really want to go to that school, or I'm so fixed on it I can't, and yet there's nothing about that focus that is letting you know that it's a natural fit or meant to be, like there feels like there's roadblocks. And that's telling you that, nobody wants to be somewhere where they are not wanted to be. You know what I mean? Like, and if it's meant to be, it won't pass you by. So there can be a redirect of focus. I'm thinking literally of a couple people right off the top of my head, and one is, a girl who's seeking out different colleges and what she's running into and being forced to explore other things. I mean, I said, what if the love of your life is waiting at some other college and you keep you're fixed over here, I kind of said that. She laughed, and it actually made her loosen her grip a little bit. Like, you just don't know. You have to pay attention to the signs. And so anyway, I feel, too, the other piece to this, since Venus is in the ruler of that Mercury in Libra right now, but Venus is in Virgo, so when Mercury backs into Virgo, then, that Mercury will be ruling, transiting Venus right now, and that has a lot to do with feeling valued and, getting paid what you're worth, or being in a relationship where things are equal and balanced. And it is like a tuning fork energy, I feel, as well, like really the self-correction. Is that the word you said?
Yeah.
Just a perfect way, because it's really, during the retrogrades, up to us to recognize something. There's your RE. To recognize what we're not getting or what's not feeling right and natural, and either reorienting your focus or opening yourself up to consider other things, to reconsider other things.
Well,
Huge.
and I have to say, I have a very dear friend who's written a whole bunch of books on affirmations, and whenever she does an affirmation, she always says at the end, to the greater good of all. And that's exactly what you were saying a few moments ago. You might not know what's to your greater good until it shows up, right?
Yeah.
If you hold on to things too hard, like wanting to go to that university or get that job or have that relationship, and it's not in your best interest, it's really great if the universe conspires on your behalf to remove that for you, so that open the door to something else, right? And as Mercury finishes off this really lovely trine that it's making to Pluto at the very end, and that will be also on the 12th of October, Mercury will be in opposition to Jupiter, which is still in the sign of Aries and still retrograde. Now, the first alignment of Mercury opposition Jupiter happened on the 18th of September, and the cycle finishes with the second opposition on October 12th. And so that's a polarization between, what I need from myself and what I need from relationship or the moment and so forth. And on that opposition, again, looking at, this is Mercury on the move with Venus, doing the corrective that it needs to. Venus is in this lovely position. It's trining Saturn, and it's trining Mars across the air signs, and about to conjunct the Sun as well, too. So there's a lovely trine in the element of air, which means that there's more ability to express, to connect the dots, to communicate in a way that others may take in and relate to, and the ability to move in a new direction in terms of all of that kind of conflict of, how do I work it out? You and I are in competition. How can we come to accord instead? That kind of thing, right?
When is that?
On the 12th of, it's the middle of October. So on the 10th, Mercury moves into Libra. On the 11th, we have a Sun trine Saturn. On the 12th, we have the Mercury Jupiter opposition, the Mercury Pluto trine, and on the 13th, we have Venus and Saturn in trine. So it's a really nice setup, and it finishes with on the 14th with the Moon in Gemini picking up that grand trine again, right? So that's kind of a nice week, and that's just following, by the way, the full moon on the 9th So I think we have some good opportunity here to be moving our. And sorry, just to continue that string, the 17th we have Sun-Mars trine, and on the 18th we have the Venus-Mars trine. So we're being gifted some opportunity here in terms of being able to smooth over the communication tracks, to smooth over the contracts, to regain our own equilibrium, to have a better balance in terms of how we are approaching relationships in general and the circumstances of our life.
All right, we all need something to look forward to. That is why I love astrology. Even if you're like really knee deep in something and feeling like, oh my God, life is hard, but you see certain things on the horizon, and it's the sheer fact that you know some things are coming can literally shift your energy in the moment. Nothing is static. Nothing stays in one place for too long. There's always going to be movement. There's always going to be something that's going to lift your boat off the rocks. So, anyway, let's. We're gonna talk about the new moon first. I think would be a good idea on September 25th. That's this Sunday in Libra, as I do want to cover that full moon too in a few weeks. But I'll briefly say a few things before the break here. So we've got a new moon in Libra this Sunday, September 25th, and that night, Venus, the ruler for Libra, will be conjunct to Mercury Retrograde, because Mercury will have retrograded back to form, I believe it's a new phase conjunction, the evening, at least in the West, it will be the evening, to Venus and Mercury, while trining Pluto.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a pair. So let's talk about that little trinity on the new moon after the break.
Find out about Kristin Fontana and get your free weekly astrological forecast on her website, KristinFontana.com. Read articles written by the founder of evolutionary astrology, Jeffrey Wolf Green. Evolutionary astrology is a spiritual perspective astrology from Pluto's point of view, and what a view it is. You can even order a detailed personalized chart that tells you about your past, present, and future. You'll also discover where and when Kristin's upcoming conferences, workshops, and appearances will be on KristinFontana.com. That's KRISTIN Fontana.com.
Okay, you're stressed. You need a little R&R. Wouldn't going to a spa help? There's all kinds of spas, too. Destination spas, medical spas, day spas, even dental and mobile spas. Where do you find the right spa at the right price? Oh, no, more stress? Well, not anymore. Visit spafinders.com. At spafinders.com, you'll find everything you need to know about spas from around the world. So de-stress. Click on spafinders.com right on our homepage. I'm feeling relaxed already.
What would happen if you didn't follow the established path? Would you feel scared or proud? Could you explain that helping the people of Peru improve their own community would also have an effect on your own? Would you rather make your own way or spend a lifetime saying, what if? Life is calling. How far will you go? Peace Corps. To find out more, call 1-800-424-8580 or go to peacecorps.gov.
Water. In the hot summer sun, water is a natural thought, like relaxing at the beach with the waves lapping at your feet, or perhaps being with your significant other under a secluded, gently cascading waterfall. If you want a little more action, how about water skiing or boating on an icy, clear blue lake? With Expedia.com, everything you need for travel, flights, hotels, cruises, vacation packages, they have it all at a price you can afford. Go to HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on Expedia.com.
I'm William Shatner, and this is Jimmy. Animals like Jimmy are often left behind by people fleeing hurricanes, fires, floods, and earthquakes. These abandoned animals cannot survive on their own. If you must evacuate your home, please never leave an animal behind. If you absolutely cannot take your animal with you, never leave him helplessly chained or caged. Many animals die because they cannot escape fires or rising waters. Animals need your help. Thank you.
Call PETA today, 757-622-PETA.
HealthyLife.net, the positive radio network.
have returned, and Rose Marcus and I are discussing the transits for the end of September and October 2022. Most recently, just about this new moon that's coming in Libra on Sunday, September 25th. And right before the break, I was sharing about Venus, the ruler of Libra, being conjunct to Mercury Retrograde in Virgo that evening, essentially that day, while trining Pluto. And we just were speaking a bit about the Mercury trine Pluto. So let's add another layer to that. Add Venus to the conversation. And Rose, you were talking a lot about that Libran element, which is all part of this. So I think the wheels of that story that you were sharing during the middle of October begins on Sunday. It feels to begin on Sunday.
Yeah. Well, and that's a really very potent few days, the run of stars that are aligned here. So, again, we're pre-recording this, and it is all the way through that new moon and the few days that follow. We start out on the 24th, a Saturday, with Venus in opposition to Neptune. The new moon, the Venus-Pluto trine and Mercury retrograde conjunct the Sun, and that's the 25th, 26th, and the 27th we have Mars trine Saturn, and we have Mercury trine Pluto. So we've got this incredible run. But I want to toss something else into the mix as well, too. So 2 degrees Libra. And on the 26th, we have the Sun opposing Jupiter, which is retrograde. So again, we have this Aries-Libra opposition taking place, and that will be repeated by that Mercury opposition that I talked about before the break as well, too. So we're picking this up, right? So all of that Libra information coming through. And all of the Venus principle now is so very intensified because Venus, the one half of the karmic axis, is in the sign of Taurus, and that brings up Venus. So we have the inner principle of our inner relationship to ourselves, and the Libra principle, which is the whole socialized perspective of interaction, and so forth in terms of all of that. So Jupiter in retrograde in the sign of Aries, that's again taking a look inward and adjusting how the impulses, it's the instincts that we have, for just carrying on in the way we do. Libra is an evaluation of what is in my best interest. Right? So that Sun-Jupiter opposition, the Jupiter in Aries retrograde, is to have more of a considered response to whatever it is that you might be facing at the moment. And this allows for a much greater consciousness for Jupiter is a planet of increase, so it gives us a much broader perspective on the entire picture instead of just that portion, which we often do, as you said earlier, with when we're compelled or we're pushing or we're just, so caught up in things, right?
Oh, can't see the forest for the trees, right? The wheels are moving so fast we can't catch a breath. So it just forces you to slow down and stop. I love that. How did you explain that Jupiter experience? Not the considered response, maybe it is, but expanded view, of everything. And we're just really kind of feeling like we're seeing only one thing. It's like we call that the frog in the well in evolutionary astrology, where you can only really see your part of the sky, but these retrogrades force you up and out to see everything, to see all sides, to consider all people involved in a situation. And, I think, as you were saying, too, it just, for the good of all, and those affirmations, it's like, what things can make, what things that can I do that can consider the voices of everyone involved or consider the feelings of everyone involved. Not everybody's going to take that stance, but I think it's an important way to be and way to approach any situation. Just listening, considering, and pausing before you speak. I mean, it's just giving you a little more time, I think, to do the right thing or the thing that you would be most proud of.
You know, this opposition between Aries and Libra, you know, first with the Sun Jupiter, which is the midpoint peak, by the way, of the Jupiter retrograde cycle that started somewhere there, I think, end of July, and continues on for another till November or something. Later on this month, into November. But here's the point of it. Libra is the archetype of the art of listening, right? You know.
Yeah.
And Jupiter retrograde is about instincts and intuition signaling something different than previous, right? You know, so the art of listening with the Jupiter retrograde, you know, you're getting some signals, you're getting some impulses here, some registering inside of you, you know, consciousness-wise, you know, and pay attention to those. I can't tell you how many times, like, you know, I mentioned quite recently my computer broke. If I had been listening to the signals that were saying, back up, back up, back up,
right.
It's those things. So when those flashes come, take a pause. I hope that this Sun-Jupiter opposition is going to turn up the volume on all of that. It says, oh, wait a minute here. Maybe I should stop and examine this a little bit deeper, or pay attention to this impulse that I have here. What's behind that? And if I do A, what will result in B, right? You know, and again, it is not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. How could we make this a win-win situation here?
Yes. Sorry, I was taking a little sip of water there. Yeah. I think it's just so important to talk about, to give a little extra time to those outer planetary retrogrades in particular.
You know, if I go at it, you know, waging war, I just might get hurt in the process.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe if I've had enough of that, maybe I could find a way to refine, so in the end I'm not blowing myself up instead.
I wanted to share this story I just reread in the autobiography of a yogi. But when Yogananda was young, there was this kid in school who was bullying everybody. And he just had enough of it. He got so sick of it, he decided he would take on the bully, you know, in this wrestling match. And he, you know, he's getting knocked around. His head's getting, getting hit. He's getting arm lock, and then his head's hitting the ground, and he's kind of almost going unconscious. This is his brother's actually telling this story, I think, now that I remember. And he finally gets the bully. This guy is much bigger than him, in this arm lock, like where he's like losing his air, and he's like, say you will never bully anybody again. Say you will leave everyone alone right now, or will not release my grip, you know. And the guy just couldn't believe the strength coming out of Yogananda, you know. And he finally concedes, and he, you know, finally surrenders, and everybody who was afraid, you know, to stand up to the bully, there's now 20 of them surrounding the bully, and you know, he wanted to be the bully again, and then he saw 20 people around him saying, if you even go after anyone, we'll be all, you know, pouncing on you. But what Yogananda regretted after the fact, and what he talked about, because he got really angry, you know, and you're right, he almost really, you know, he was bumped, he was bleeding, he had bruises, and ultimately it could have been a lot worse, right? So he just, in that moment, said, I will never allow anger to get the better of me. You know, there has to be another way to go about this, right? So it's true. I mean, in that instance, it works, but it might not always work. Yeah. And I think he learned a lesson, even someone as evolved as Yogananda. So we're going to move to a break. We'll be right back.
Find out about Kristin Fontana and get your free weekly astrological forecast on her website, KristinFontana.com. Read articles written by the founder of evolutionary astrology, Jeffrey Wolf Green. Evolutionary astrology is a spiritual perspective astrology from Pluto's point of view, and what a view it is. You can even order a detailed, personalized chart that tells you about your past, present, and future. You'll also discover where and when Kristin's upcoming conferences, workshops, and appearances will be on KristinFontana.com. That's Kristin, Fontana.com.
Have you ever wondered why you are here on this planet and what the point to all of this is? Evolutionary astrology is a natural science that allows for an understanding of the evolutionary journey of the soul from life to life. Evolutionary astrology provides a vehicle to understand prior life dynamics that have led to the reason and purpose for the life you live. It offers a depth of information and insights about each person that no other type of astrology can provide. As Jeffrey Wolf Green, the founder of Evolutionary Astrology, says,
for those who wish to unveil the depth of who you actually are, I would highly recommend that you seek out qualified evolutionary astrologers such as Kristin Fontana and other graduated students of the School of Evolutionary Astrology. For those who are considering becoming an astrologer to make it a natural career, I'd recommend that you consider Jeffrey Wolf Green's School of Evolutionary Astrology, where it will assist you in answering and your clients answering a big question. Why am I here? Thanks for listening, and God bless.
Okay, you're stressed. You need a little R&R. Wouldn't going to a spa help? There's all kinds of spas, too. Destination spas, medical spas, day spas, even dental and mobile spas. Where do you find the right spa at the right price? Oh, no, more stress? Well, not anymore. Visit spafinders.com. At spafinders.com, you'll find everything you need to know about spas from around the world. So de-stress. Click on spafinders.com right on our homepage. Ah, I'm feeling relaxed already.
Whether you're taking a short trip or traveling across the world, Magellans.com is the world's most trusted source for travel, and they guarantee 100% satisfaction. They have everything you need to make travel just a bit more pleasurable. Who doesn't like that? They have travel alarms, clothing, the best luggage, wallets, everything you need except the ticket. Visit the advertiser page on HealthyLife.net and click on Magellans Now. You will not only see their travel products, but get a free catalog and read articles with tips on how to make your travel easier. Visit the advertiser page and click on Magellans Now.
HealthyLife.net, where positive overcomes negative.
All right, we are back. I'm here with Rose Marcus. This is Kristin Fontana discussing transits for end of September, October 2022. It is fall here in the northern hemisphere and spring in the southern, and we are celebrating. Anyway, we were talking about the new moon on September 25th, a Sunday, and Venus and Mercury conjunct in Virgo, later degrees, trining Pluto. This is so important. There's so many days in the next 2 to 3 weeks that are important, as Rose has been mentioning, and I've been sharing too. But another thing that I really love, and you had mentioned it briefly, but I want to speak a little further to this point. What happens on the new moon essentially is like letting you know what the next 2 weeks are before the full moon. It can kind of create an energy field, or, you're setting new intentions right at that new moon. Maybe it's for the whole month. And so these intention settings of things adjustments you want to make is very Virgo, right? The Venus and Mercury retrograde in Virgo. What adjustments can I make? What are the things that feel broken that I can go ahead and try and fix, whether it's things within myself or thought patterns I'm having, what the stories I'm telling myself, can I change those? But what's so cool is that not only is Venus and Mercury, not only through that conjunction are they trining Pluto, which means those messages and intentions that you're setting literally will be transmitted to the soul or coming through the soul, but also having a very powerful impact and imprint. Transiting Saturn, which rules Pluto in Capricorn, is trining Mars pretty much all week, the 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, and heck, for sure on the new moon, it's already there. But a very strong trine on that Monday. It just sets up the week so strongly. So what it's really saying is that it's trying to help you secure what you want. That's Mars, what you want, and Saturn is securing something. It's trying to drive a message home or secure a new groove. And so when Saturn is supporting your efforts and supporting your wants and your wishes, you have a better shot at it sticking in your life and landing well for you. But just make sure your intentions are pure and that your efforts follow what it is that you want. And you will see results, I guarantee you, within the week.
Yes, absolutely. And whatever it is that you are able to to energize during this period of time. You will see those results over the next week or so, but it's going to extend for a length of time as well, too, right?
Good point. It's not just a week. When you try something new and you see the results immediately, it's like, wow, that's the universe validating this for me. I would go so far as to say, this might sound dramatic. You correct me if I'm wrong. But, Saturn moves in 30-year chapters, cycles, 28, 29 years, right? So Mars is the desire nature of your soul. So you could be initiating new desires that are leading you into the next chapter, big chapter of your life, maybe even Saturn chapter.
Well, absolutely, and when that goes to dispositors, Saturn's in the sign of Aquarius, and Uranus is in Taurus, still activating here. We have that Mercury, that lovely Mars in Gemini, and the lovely Mercury-Venus conjunction, which is trine Pluto again, right? So we've got that ballpark, and the Mercury-Venus trine is really setting up for future course. It really,
right.
Yeah. So, this is a wonderful time to get started. Really, to get started, to put phase one together is what I have been kind of indicating. We're on phase one of something that is going to unfold in the coming weeks, in the coming months, over the coming year.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, it's important to remember too that, and we're going to be talking about this big time pretty soon. Transiting Mars, which is our choice-making planet, our desire planet. It takes what's unconscious in your soul and makes it happen. It's the planet of action. We'll be retrograding the end of October. Rose and I will be teaching on this on October 1st, Saturday. And we could have made an announcement there at the beginning of our show.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to make an announcement, so that's good. Let folks know
okay, so I'll make it now. We'll close the show with it. But we are starting a teaching series with 3 other evolutionary astrologers to look at all the big transits in the next several months. And we start our series on October 1st. Rose and I are team teaching. jwgaea.org is the website, or if you want any more information about these classes that are coming up, you can reach out to Rose or myself. We're so excited about it. I mean, it ends up being like $11 a class. I mean, it's so affordable, it's not even funny. And we're doing 9 classes once a month from October to June. And the last class involves a chart interpretation class for attendees, and it will be a Zoom live class, so we'll be open to questions and answers after with all 5 of us. All of us are graduated evolutionary astrologers from the Jeffrey Wolf Green School. So anyway, we are so excited about it. But this Mars transit that's coming up, October 30th, is in Gemini, and we are going to address that transit in the class, so we won't get too much into it today. But what I wanted to mention is that the Saturn transit trining that Mars, Mars will be retrograding back to that trine 2 more times between now and the end of March. And so it's a good idea to pay attention to what desires are coming up. I mean, when you have it in Gemini, you can have a lot of things that you feel like you want to do. Or try or explore. You might have this need for diversity and variety, and you're not quite sure which way to direct your energy. But I really feel like the trine to Saturn is going to show you, what ones are worth your time a little more, while still giving you the space to explore them. Through the retrograde, we are given the time and the space to explore the things that are of interest to us, or that we feel will help us grow.
Well, and, this is the nature of some of the retrogrades that we are experiencing right now, and the way I've been describing it, and it will be for the Mars transit that I'm very excited about our teaching together, and we're going to be mentoring, doing a mentoring class as well, too.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for adding that.
Yeah, so we have to do that, but what I'll say is that not only Mars is well, we've got a lot to say, but let me just say that the race horses are going to become more obvious over time. So we still have quite a lot of unknown to get through, and this is certainly what happens when we're looking to innovate, when we're looking to make really big changes in our life. You know, we might have plans about how we're going to move forward, but, you know, life is full of unknowns. So where are you going to next? What's tomorrow going to bring? What's the future going to bring? We can't know it all, right? You know, we can't know it all. But the stars are setting up so much potential right now. And we have to be willing to take a risk. That's Saturn in the sign of Aquarius. We have to be willing to risk, to explore new possibilities, to look at building it in some kind of new way. We've got to be willing to take some kind of risk. For the change, then you have to put some courage forward, right?
It just made me laugh. I just saw a quote recently by John Wayne. It said, "Courage is being scared to death, but saddling the horse anyway." Or saddling up anyway. I love that. Yeah, you got to be willing to take the risk. That is Mars. And I do know that with Mars trining Saturn, you will have the courage that you need to go after it. So we'll be right back after one more break.
Find out about Kristin Fontana and get your free weekly astrological forecast on her website, KristinFontana.com. Read articles written by the founder of evolutionary astrology, Jeffrey Wolf Green. Evolutionary astrology is a spiritual perspective astrology from Pluto's point of view, and what a view it is. You can even order a detailed personalized chart that tells you about your past, present, and future. You'll also discover where and when Kristin's upcoming conferences, workshops, and appearances will be on KristinFontana.com. That's KRISTIN Fontana.com.
If you're like the 8 out of 10 women that say finding jeans that fit is a problem, well, your problem is solved. Lee Jeans has done extensive research, and they have jeans that fit. There's even an online Lee Fit Finder so you can find the right fit for you. Imagine jeans that instantly slim you with a custom fit and no gap waistband. And guys, kids, Lee has jeans for you too. Click through to Lee's Jeans on the HealthyLife.net advertiser page and get what fits.
Take one step towards spirit. Spirit will take 1,000 steps toward you. Come explore the world of evolutionary astrology with Rose Marcus. Rose Marcus is well known for her heartfelt passion, sensitive counseling skills, and dedication to helping others. You can now study evolutionary astrology from the comfort of your own home through live teleconference classes with Rose. To register for the next Evolutionary Astrology School, to read your in-depth monthly horoscope, or to book a private astrology with Rose Marcus, please visit her website, www.rosemarcus.com.
Oh, man, it never fails. My suitcase just got ripped apart.
Life is a journey. Make it a pleasant one. Use Samsonite. You know the name. For almost a century, Samsonite luggage has proved itself to be the worldwide leader in innovative travel solutions. Let it be yours. Visit HealthyLife.net's affiliate Samsonite on our homepage and click to look at the fine luggage from suitcases to golf travel bags. And don't forget, take a look at their travel accessories. Make life a journey, a pleasant one, with Samsonite.
In college, I took a lot of history and liberal arts classes, and frankly, I don't remember much of any of it. But as an adult, I find myself engrossed in fascinating programs on the A&E and History Channel. They've pretty much helped me to be pretty impressive at social functions, and I just found out today that I can purchase DVDs of my favorite A&E and History Channel programs right through HealthyLife.net. You should visit HealthyLife.net and order your favorite A&E and History Channel program DVDs as well, and then discover how many people you can impress during your next social occasion.
HealthyLife.net, the positive radio network.
We have returned and discussing transits for October. Now we've moved well into October, and do you want to chat about the full moon in Aries?
Yeah, and just one other thing I wanted to say about what we were talking about before the break. Saturn is the archetype of time, and it is this moment in time, right? You know, yes. You know, so by all means, work with it, right?
Exactly. exactly.
Yeah, so we have a full moon on the 9th, and it is preceded by the end of Pluto retrograde on the 8th, right? So, and followed up by Mercury finishing off in Virgo, moving into Libra. So we do have that transit, and the full moon is at 16 degrees of Aries. And what do you feel about this?
So 16 Aries, I was just going to ask you because I wasn't remembering exactly the degree of that full moon. Well, the full moon being 16 degrees of Aries, if that I actually love the position of this full moon to Saturn, because the Saturn by that point will be, 18?
Yeah, the sun position is just 2 degrees off a trine to Saturn, so we still are maintaining that lovely air trine with Saturn, Mars, and the Sun, and Jupiter is, I meant to say Venus is in there as well, too, right?
Right. Yeah. So you've got a full moon in Aries. Of course, the moon is actually, is it opposing? It is opposing Venus.
Yeah, it's opposing
by a degree.
Venus. Yeah, it's opposing Venus. And, go ahead, yes.
Okay, I was just going to say that, I like the anchoring effect of Saturn to this full moon, because the moon in Aries can be very fiery, can be reactive. But when it's grounded with that Saturn, you can be more responsive and patient about something. Let's just say the full moon is generating some heat in a relationship that you have, and somebody really just standing on your last nerve and triggering you to high heaven, like they say. But this sextile to Saturn says, I'm just going to wait and I'm just going to wait and see if they can simmer down, or I'm wondering if my patience and my allowing some space here between us will allow things to, not go spinning out of control like they might typically do. Because I definitely feel like on some level it could be a test, a little test to see how you deal with certain things. But I also, while it's still 6 degrees maybe away from that sextile to Mars, and maybe it's a little far out of orb there, I still feel that the Mars-Saturn transit are within a supportive reach as well. So, and also you had mentioned, Rose, that Mercury is trining Pluto still around that time, right? We've got that 2 weeks of it. So there are a lot of planetary pairs in place that I feel like will, in terms of checks and balances, you're, in the red and not the black. In the black and not the red. Is that how it is?
Yeah.
More support than stress, let's put it that way.
Well, let me also say that Chiron is involved in that full moon as well, too. It's at 14 degrees Aries and also retrograde, another one of the retrograde planets, right? So Chiron will dial up what is meant to be. It has that sense about it. So, that's it's a catalyst, and whatever takes place, whatever might be raw or whatever might be painful that it draws up, there's a reason behind it as well, too. It's so that it can open up something that needs to be healed, something that needs to be examined. It is about what it's firing up inside of you and giving you an opportunity to work with that energy. So sometimes things happen for a reason, and whatever happens at this time of this full moon, whatever it does fire up is for a reason. Right.
Yeah.
I have to say as well, too, Pallas Athena is also involved. It's a T-square. It's in the sign of Cancer. So the full moon Chiron position to that Pallas Athena. Pallas Athena is often the way I see it. Of course, it is about justice and all of that, but Pallas Athena I always see as piecing it together, right? Taking the various elements and piecing it together. Pallas Athena in the sign of Cancer, it's about how we self-preserve and how we are seeing our own reflection in the way, people are communicating with us and circumstances are, confronting us and so on. That Pallas Athena gives you the opportunity to kind of see that whole big picture in the way that you are dealing with, to look at a different way of playing it safe, or of securing it, or of, protecting yourself and so on. What is it that you need? It might be something different in the way that you are approaching those qualities.
Yeah, I love the energy of Pallas Athene, and she's really, Demetra George, who I respect so much, has said that she feels that she's the most important kind of goddess asteroid in modern times, because if you were to give her a rulership of the chakras, it would be the fifth chakra, which is your throat chakra, your voice, and she is highly respected for her intelligence in the mythic story. Even Mars is afraid that she might outwit him, right? So, but part of her fight is for justice, as you said, and so she's got that warrior spirit, but she uses it with her wit, with her all that energy that is axis at the root coils up through the throat chakra, and that power, that Mars energy, the courage to fight for what's right, to say what needs to be said and spoken. So I love that she's there and part of this full moon in Aries, because she's also making these beautiful aspects to the nodes. So her presence allows things to evolve, and being in Cancer, it does take emotional courage to evolve, really.
Well, yeah, and I was going to say emotional wisdom.
And wisdom, yeah, emotional wisdom.
Natural emotional wisdom.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
Yeah.
There's a statue in Greece of her, and you can Google her, and she's enormous, and she's got kind of different armor that's in gold or bronze, and there are men clamoring at her feet. Like, oh my goodness, because she's and not in this. It's more like out of respect, not out of because she's a warrior standing there, it's not like, it's just a reflection of they respect her wisdom, right? So I loved that image that I'd seen when I did a search.
Absolutely. Wonderful, yeah.
And you said something about the Saturn transit turning Mars earlier that sparked a memory for me. You said the words moment in time, and just recently, it was kind of random, really. I heard that song again that Whitney Houston made so popular, and the one lyric in this song is, "I want one moment in time when I'm more than I thought I could be." And she says this. She sings this more than once. She says, "When all of my dreams are a heartbeat away, and the answers are all up to me. Give me one moment in time when I'm racing with destiny. Then in that moment of time I will feel eternity." And it's just so beautiful, because it's true that when you're connecting with your highest self, or your highest vibrational self, or you've been willing to take the risk, and you feel connected to something larger than yourself, like she says, eternity, you realize that you're just created from something, right, much bigger. Like, obviously, we're all creations of God and created by God, uniquely to ourselves and unique expressions of the Creator. So I want everyone to have that experience, a moment in time when you thought you were more than you could be.
And, I just heard the ending of the show, but I have to just get this in before we go. We had so much to pack in this month. We have not gotten around to the solar eclipse on the 25th of October, which is 2 degrees Scorpio, with Venus at 2 degrees Scorpio, and a solar eclipse is a new moon, and it is connected to Venus in Scorpio, so that's very, very potent for launching a whole new cycle. If the eclipse is relevant to your chart, then that's going to be quite significant. And we'll be back on the 27th, and that's the day that Jupiter retrograde backs into Pisces. So we'll talk more about that eclipse, but I'm sure that you and I will be writing about all these things. So the whole month ahead is jam-packed. And one more time, Kristin, on our little plug for the Mars in Gemini talk on the 1st of October.
Yes, so Saturday, October 1st at 11 a.m. Pacific. If you can't make it, you can access the teachings or the class following, jwgaea.org for more information, or contact Rose or myself. So wonderful, as always, to gather with you, and we will be back next month, but we'll also be available for more teaching on October 1st. Until next time, namaste.